Hey guys, what's up? It's Schlaw coming back to ya with an extra special episode of Car Rides with Schlaw. And the reason why I say that is because for once we are super duper on time, which is, very unusual these days. But today it is truly the case. So there's not much more that needs to be stated about that. And yeah, just getting some things together and we should be good to go momentarily. And yep. Let's just see here. Let's get into the thing here. There's that. Oh boy, we're getting some. Okay, never mind. I was going to say we're getting some stress, but we weren't getting some stress. Just a bit of a hitch on the good old clocker. Even now we're kind of getting some hitch. So that's not too good, but we should have good strong signal right now. So that's kind of all right. Now I'm starting to get like a little bit. Come on, it's been such a good day. We just okay, good. It's been such a good day. Come on. Don't make. I'm gonna just have to open the. Ooh, dude, the signal is not working. I mean, this is really bothering me. Whoa. All right, we're gonna be ready to go very soon. So punch out. Hopefully it'll be a fast load back in. Of course it's not. Man, this thing is. I mean, of all times. Come on. There we go. Good. All right. We're out of here. Good. Now that's how you clock out of work. Now that's how you clock out of work. Yeah, the thing was stressing me out a little bit. We probably lost about 10 seconds, but I end up going with that's worth it. That's what I end up going with. But it was being really weird, the connection thing. But I mean, what else is new? It's just like usual stuff. Now, I said to myself, what would be nice as a nice little Friday treat would be as a nice little Friday treat would be like a Friday without traffic. That's what would be a nice little Friday treat. But I'm obviously being a bit joking when I say that, because that's like almost never the case. So, and it doesn't look like it's going to be the case today. I'll be saying that much. So, I don't even know if it made a smidge of a difference. It still looks much worse than yesterday. Wait, this is... Okay, I was just confused. Yeah, it still looks much worse than yesterday. Much, much, much worse. even though I got out at a much better time. Doesn't matter, apparently. Apparently it just don't even matter. I don't know. Doesn't make too much sense, but this is what you deal with. I'm trying to figure what is... Yeah, I don't know. Thought I just saw a police car, but he's gone. I don't know where he went. It's weird. It's weird. What I wanted to talk about today, now that we finally kind of have a chance to breathe. Oh wait, I should actually just turn this off, yeah. Oh my gosh. What are we thinking about, man? I feel like my phone discipline is a lot higher than most people's. Like, I kind of realized that after seeing people. I don't know. It just seems like, again, there's kind of this common trend in my life where, I kind of feel like I'm behind or I'm not good enough, you know? And it's like, sorry, this guy wasn't going. It's pretty stressful. And I notice, like, yeah, this guy behind me is like really angry. He's like throwing his hands up in the air and doing all this like crazy stuff. I have no idea why. Like he's trying to, I don't know. He was like mouthing off, throwing his arm in the air, like lipping words to me. But guess what? We're not getting on the highway any bit slower as a result of my driving. Like I'm still reasonably behind the next car in front of me. Yeah, he's shaking his head. He's shaking his head. He's shaking his head at me. And guess what? Guess what? We're going to get on the highway at the same time. Guess what? Like... Oh, and look, we're on the highway, and I'm like right behind all the other cars. Look at that. Look at that, pal. Look at that. It's just like crazy. So I got a little aggressive. I actually sunk my foot in the throttle. I don't usually do that, but I needed, if I was really going to do that, I needed to be in manual and have my, I would have had to downshift. I didn't really appropriately do that, but now look, let's see, how far ahead is he getting? He's still just in front of me. It's just so, these people are so dumb. He was so mad for what? For what? Like, it would have, I would have made him about like 2 or 3 seconds off from the trajectory he was on. And he like was I saw his lips moving. I saw him toss his arm in the air. I saw and it's like, again, for what? Like he did not gain anything from doing that. He gained nothing. I shouldn't have sunk my foot in the throttle though. I guess I'm just in that kind of mood. My car's not fast enough though. I'd have to be in manual, and I would have had to toss it in order to get it to actually move. And I don't know. I didn't really feel like it because I don't know. But yeah, it just I don't know, sometimes something comes over me, you know? But yeah, like the phone I mean, people are really infatuated with their phones. And I use my phone a lot, but I actually don't think, like, what I do with it is it's probably at least 10 times more productive than the average person. You know, and like that is a big issue with technology, and AI could potentially exaggerate it in either direction. I'm starting to become more pessimistic about the future of AI because we're really seeing some like predatory changes in society. There's been a huge push. It's funny because like things are kind of documented as I'm recording this show, and it's like the older I get, the more I live, the more and more I'm just completely disappointed in just like the world and stuff in general. I mean, how are we at that point now? We're at this point where um it's crazy. It's crazy the point we're at where at every turn it's gambling, at every turn it's some kind of predatory behavior, some kind of predatory business. I mean, what is this like coming to? And AI can exaggerate. AI can actually make things even more inefficient. Basically, it's automation, but to what end? You know, you could use AI basically to make people even further distracted, even further having their heads shoved into their screen all day, and actually doing even more nonsense. I mean, some of these people, you know, they live for talking about fictional things or things that don't matter. That's like what most people in a developed society live for, you know? Even people who are put together and functioning in society, people who are poor, wherever you're at on the economic scale, people live for TV shows, people live for video games. And this fictional stuff, it's fine, but man, nothing should surpass the nonfiction. You know, the politics, the news, what's actually happening in the world. And it's like most people, all they do their whole life is try to escape it. They try to just get rid of it, or like ignore it, or oh, the news is evil, or you know, all these like weird kind of narratives people come up in their head, and everybody just wants peace, so they disconnect. And I guess this trait, it's very human, but it's extremely destructive. In the type of system that we have, it's dangerous. It's incredibly dangerous to be apathetic to things. It's incredibly it's mostly sabotaging to future generations. It's mostly the negligence and nihilism of a current generation does most to hurt the next, essentially. That's kind of the gist of things. Yeah, we have a Durango making a crazy play. Of course. And of course, like these people, they're making me rush, and we're coming to a stop, and like, ugh. It always happens because there's always this clog, and I'm never seeing it coming because I know all the cars. It just bothers me because it's such inefficient driving, but every single time without fail. I'm going to have to, I think on these days, I need to start using the GPS again because then I know like for certain that I'm coming up. But you know, when I got like all these people on my tail, I got this like Dodge Durango swerving around me doing a bunch of crazy stuff. And notice, guess how far he got? He's just one car in front of me. It's like, um, but yeah, people. I mean, they live for like an escape of reality. Like that's what everybody is like. I mean, you think about vacation. That's what vacation literally is. It's a sweet escape. People refer to their vacation as an escape. Where do you think that comes from? Why is it like what are you escaping from? Maybe that's why vacation just doesn't really make any sense to me because I don't have a problem with life. Of course I have the same complaints as anybody does. Of course. You know, work is work and such, and I mean I'm fortunate to not have a hard job, but I don't have any hatred for life. I think that is like a huge difference between me and most other people presumably. You know, I don't possess a hatred for life. I just don't. I don't have it. It's not in my heart to hate life. And so living on a day-to-day basis, I don't need an escape. But everybody is always they're obsessed with escapes. They're obsessed with fictional worlds being able to take them away from the world in front of them. It's the nature of entertainment and media, and honestly short form content. I know it's like, okay, how long are you gonna beat this dead horse? like it's like every episode I'm talking about short form content. um Short form content is it's just the end point of that. I mean, it's like the easiest way to disassociate and just slip into another world. Even easier than a book was, even easier than, other TV shows or movies were. Like, it's just like the ultimate form. It's the ultimate form of these things. Um, I can't believe the amount of people who like cut in front of traffic. Like, I just don't know. All right, sorry. But yeah, I mean, this is what people, and so I don't understand. I just never understood that because the second I was old enough to figure it out, I was like, why would you ever even engage with fictional content? I understand it now. Um, it's stimulating to different parts of the brain, of course, and all this stuff. Like, there is merit, probably particularly to creating fictional content more so than consuming it. But nobody has that. Like, the way you live in America or in developed countries is you have your likes and dislikes, and you just do what you please. You know, if you want to watch fictional, you watch fictional. If you want to watch nonfiction, do it. But it's do what you want. when the second you want to try to talk about like what should or shouldn't, it gets all crazy. Even GPT is like, well, you don't know what is or isn't, and you can't. Who's to say? Who's to say what is or isn't good, or what or how we should like? And it's just like, dude, get a grip. Literally, all I have to say to that. Get a grip. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. I feel like my point makes sense. But yeah, I mean, as I've gotten older, I mean, I used to think in this like superiority way where it's like, oh, you know, feelings or logic, like logic, it's people aren't smart enough, that's like the problem with the world. And like fiction and nonfiction, it's nonfiction, like that's what's wrong with the world. People are not educated enough, and they need to focus more on nonfiction. But none of that, like, I don't think a lot of that stuff, well, see, I'm saying that, but I think my inclinations are actually like correct. I still, but what I'm saying as a broader life purpose now, I want to balance. I am well aware that it's not like there's anything wrong with human emotions. Like, emotions are what make us us, and it's not logic that makes a human. It is emotion, because any animal can operate on instinct. And I've explained this before. It's like, if you observe nature usually does what makes sense. Now, I'm saying that in the obvious counter argument, okay, then why is there roadkill? Why are animals running in front of cars? Yeah, of course, that's outside of an animal's scope. But I'm saying, for the most part, if you look at nature within its natural habitat, everything is done logically. There's not really any emotion. And so what makes humans different is that we actually function emotionally. We don't do what makes sense always. We do what we want. And I think that should be respected, but it could also be seen as a transmutation we have to make as a species, where maybe our divine task is to, again, transmute the emotional into the logical. Whereas an animal, maybe their purpose is to transmute from logical into emotional, which could explain why an animal might reincarnate as a human once it has obtained emotional cognizance. But as for what I'm saying, though, I know there's merit to what I'm saying, because you still see it, like, in the world. You still see people, like, not really focused enough on non-fictional things. And even the people who are focused on non-fiction, they get a lot of facts wrong. Like, people don't really have their facts straight. And so there's, like, all kinds of problems, honestly. I don't really know what else to, like, make of it. You know what I mean? It's just such a weird just situation, Yeah, I don't know. But it's where we're at. It's where we're at, I just, I don't know, but I don't think it's necessarily an issue of, like I said before on this show, my newfound thing is that people are actually too logical. Like, the problem is humans basically they actually think often logically, just in a very selfish way, like in a very subjective way, which isn't true logic. Obviously, it's you could argue it is emotion, but I in my like interactions with people, it's actually emotional things where their comprehension just tanks. And I've said my theories about it is like TikTok degrading conflict resolution skills, technology, distractions leading to conflict resolution and de-escalation issues, lack of empathy, really, because like that's kind of what that, like when people say they're not good at dealing with emotions, they're not good at talking things through, it's an issue of empathy. I mean, if you can empathize with a person and you knew why, because I disagree with a lot of humans, obviously, but it's not like I can't empathize with them. It's not like I just can't understand where they're coming from, or I just can't put myself in their shoes. You know, like I can put myself in their shoes. That's hardly even a problem at all. You know what I mean? Whereas I think most people can't do that, which is why. And granted, I'm not going to say I'm perfect with this, because obviously, due to the eccentric nature of my thought patterns and things, like I have made a lot of mistakes when it comes to judging people. You know what I noticed though? Yeah, like this is, people are very affirmative about, like, they think they know how everybody is. I've really noticed this. Everybody really has these like, oh well, this is just how people are. And I'm a little like, I'll have assertions, but I second guess myself a little bit, you know, because I'm aware, like, I've obviously only seen a slice of the pie. Like, I don't, I can't, I can try to obsessively study humanity and, you know, ask GPT, hey, what do you think about this? But it's going to be difficult for me to know. But I notice other people, they don't do any of this. They, you know, they don't do any self-reflection, or they don't think about human interactions or how people are, things like that. They don't ask GPT. They don't look anything up. They never do any research. And they just think, oh, well, I just know how it is because I'm me. You know, and it's very ignorant. It's a deeply ignorant thing to do, but it's a deeply human thing to do. And so it's almost like if you wanted to comprehend humanity, you would need to be an alien to humanity. And that's where my eccentricities point that out. Because an eccentric person is on the borderline of being an alien, is essentially alien. An eccentric person is essentially an alien. And so being borderline alien, that's really, like, if you are a human within and living within a standard human's perception, you're never really going to be able to comprehend the beast. You know what I mean? You're just never going to be able to do that. You're not going to know who the beast is or what they look like. You're going to know nothing. You know what I mean? I just can't get over that. I just can't get over it. Yeah, I mean, today was mega fast. I don't even... Today flew by. But yeah, like that is like an issue, is I've never met somebody like me who looks things up as much as I do. It's crazy. I mean, I don't understand. That is something I just genuinely don't people like really, really don't look things up. Like they don't look things up that much. And when people do look them up, it's little things. It's not like these like deep questions that I have. A lot of times, like if people have a perspective on something, they're just going with it. Like any form of like doubt or second guessing or wanting to refine or research, that's out of the window. So in this case, like I'm recording this and then I transcribed it and I paste it right into GPT, which is huge because I'm having an opinion, but I'm getting some kind of like, okay, let's look into this idea. Let's research it. Let's just not go off of what I think. But I know for certain a majority, they might be like, oh, well, I don't trust the internet, or oh, I don't trust this, I don't trust that. And it's like, it's comical to me, but I guess to some of these like older folk or even like younger people, I honestly don't know. They're just like stupid, and people like don't look things up, and they love to just like have their own opinions. And that's really what people like. It makes for some reason that makes people feel so good to be entitled to their own opinion. I don't want to be entitled to my own opinion. I could care less about, what my opinion is, right? I'd want to learn what the correct opinion is. If I have a perspective that isn't accurate, why would I care to have it affirmed by others? You see, like these are the questions I started considering, and it's like, what? Why is the world like this? I don't understand. It's strange. It's very strange to me. But yeah, everybody, they're very lazy, they're very arrogant, and I think they're these things without realizing it. I mean, it's only because like there probably is this is what I'm like, I feel like the only reason why I'm even able to see it is because I'm less than. So the default human has a certain amount of ego or arrogance, and if I'm under that, then I'm going to see it as being like crazy. But to a lot of people, they just think it's normal because they're probably right around that arrogance and ego that's normal. And I mean, not to mention, like, most people never even get into these kinds of conversations. So you're never really talking about selfishness or ego or anything because it's just going to end up causing problems. So most people, they're friends because they share a common interest. They're not friends because they have a similar personality. To some degree, people are friends because of their shared personality. But for the most part, it's because of shared activities. Right? And that is why we're having so much social incohesion. I don't know if incohesion's a word. But we're having such a lack of social cohesion because there really is not much in common anymore between people. People do all kinds of different things, more so than ever before. We're doing different things. So that causes it to be much more difficult to form a bond. And we've talked about this a lot, my theory of hyperindividualism, and I really like hyper-personalization of society, leads to and generates these antisocial behaviors. Leads to and generates these antisocial behaviors that cause the destruction of society. Because maybe that's the problem with pleasing a human, is that you can't please a human. No matter how hard you try to, they'll never really be pleased, because so many people are basically like a insatiable ball of rotting meat. I think that's such a good way to describe the human condition: an insatiable pile of rotting meat. An insatiable mound of rotting meat is a perfect way to describe how most people operate. And they do it in shiny clothing. They do it in a fresh coat of paint. But it doesn't change the fact that beneath the surface there's an insatiable mound of meat. It doesn't change that underlying fact. So what are we supposed to do? I don't know. I don't understand, because like people are not, most people are just horrible. They're horrible at heart. You know, that's like the problem, is their heart is black. Their heart is cold. That's the problem with most people. If their heart is a heart of stone. Sorry, I'm getting carried away. I know I'm going to say this, and GPT's going to be like, well, you see, the problem with this message is you're alienating. The problem with this message here is you're alienating certain humans who, humans are not going to listen to a message of humanity. It is going to it's going to alienate a certain cohort, a majority. You see, by equating the human condition to a ball of flesh, you are alienating. You see what? GPT's like, oh well, you see here, by alienating, by creating this cohort of ball of flesh, you are actually alienating a large part of your potential audience. So it is not productive to say that. And there are really good humans out there. There are some good humans. So to paint in such broad strokes is not accurate or feasible. And it's just like, come on. Let's look at the results. Society progressively gets worse. We're kind of at the end of the rope. We're seeing the gamblification of life. Gambling is now all over the place. People are losing their minds in disarray. You are still seeing a bit more progress, sure. You're seeing some like certain scientific progress, but most of that, the peak speed of that is kind of done. I mean, that is isolated though. Like, I will give, GPT is going to say stuff, oh look, humans are great, we're still coming up with better solutions for, and it's like, no, but these solutions are not going to be broadly acceptable. Like, the thing about the 1900s is it was progress, but it was accessible to the masses. I didn't mean to say acceptable, I meant to say accessible, sorry. It was broadly accessible. That was the thing about the 1900s. And the 2000s, sure, there's going to be like a lot of interesting breakthroughs, gene editing, but that's not going to be broadly available to people. That just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would that be broadly available to people? I don't know. So that's like the problem, is like we really are seeing that. And whether GPT wants to admit it or not, I really do think there's going to be some kind of pretty substantial population collapse like soon, where things are just going to start like deteriorating and falling apart, and the government needs to quickly ramp up welfare like a lot. I don't know how else to brace for what's coming, but it's going to be rough. It's going to be messy. We need to and that's the whole problem, is the government's already in debt because it's already been doing that selfish thing where, like I said, debt it's very good for the short term, and it's just kicking the can down the road to the, younger people, which is it's not fair by any means. There's nothing fair about it. So yeah, I mean, I just don't really. It's gonna be tight. All right. Anyways, yeah, there's nothing fair about it. There's nothing fair about it. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Sorry, and the episode's almost over anyway. There's nothing fair about it. There's nothing fair about it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to talk about. But yeah, but that's what GPT's gonna. I know what GPT's gonna say, but oh yeah, no, I was talking about, yeah, it is a fact that if within the next 10 years the government does not mega stock up on welfare, mega raise taxes, we are headed in the gutter. We are going straight in the toilet. And guess what? We're on the opposite path. I think even if Democrats won, we're not going to ever really see as robust welfare services as we did in the 1900s. They've really been depleted a lot. And it's sad and stupid. I don't know. But we're going to need them because of what's to come. Anyways, it's been Schlaw, but now it's time to buy Schlaw. So, see you, Schlaw.